Hi everyone, this is Becca Hunt from the Children's Safety Network. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Pool Safely. When it comes to pool and spa safety, more is better. We'll get to our presentation in just a minute, but to get us oriented, I'd like to pass things over to Rebecca Wilmer to talk about today's technology.
Thanks, Becca. So there are two options to hear today's audio. You can either listen through your computer speakers or call into our phone line at 866-835-7973. If you're participating via phone, please mute your computer speakers to eliminate echo. Phone lines will be muted during the presentation to eliminate background noise. If you have questions or technical issues at any time, please type them into the Q&A box on the left. After the presentation, we will pause for the presenters to answer your questions. We will be showing a short video clip as part of this presentation. Audio will be broadcast through computer speakers only for this video. If you are listening over the phone, you will need to unmute your computer speakers. We also have several links today on the left, including a PDF of the slides. To visit a web page, click on its name and then select the Browse To button. This webinar will be recorded and archived and sent out to all registrants after the session. Please note that we cannot provide certificates for our webinars.
Great, thank you very much, Rebecca. Today we have a presenter from the Consumer Product Safety Commission, Ellyn Pollack. Ellyn is the Pool Safely campaign leader. She joined the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission in 2014. Working with more than 800 campaign partners, she develops and implements national outreach efforts to increase public awareness of drowning and entrapment prevention, support industry compliance with the Virginia Graham-Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act requirements, and improve safety at the nation's pools and spas. Previously, Ellyn served as the first communications director for the National Institutes of Health Office of Research on Women's Health, as the vice president at the Matthews Media Group, and established Pollack Communications, a strategic health communications consulting firm that served both the public and private sectors. The recipient of numerous national and international awards, Ellyn was also inducted into the Public Relations Society of America College of Fellows in 2011. So without further ado, I'd like to pass it over to Ellyn. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank everyone for joining us today and covering this important topic about multiple layers of protection for the pools and spas. Today we're going to discuss simple pool safety steps to keep children safe around water, the guidelines for safety systems, a new song that we've just released on Pool Safely, and a new app that we've released for children to learn safety around the pools and spas. Before we start, I'd like to ask how many people on this webinar have a pool at their home? Okay, it looks like about half, a little more than half of the people have, am I looking at the percentage? Oh, I'm sorry, about 80% of the people do not have a pool at home. About 20% do. Okay, the next question I have for you is how many people have visited a community pool this summer or they plan to visit one before Labor Day? Okay, a little more than half have been to a pool or they plan to. Well, the first step in Pool Safely is to take the pledge. Last year, we launched this campaign, Pool Safely Pledge, and as you can see, this is the web page on our poolsafely.gov. And there are two pledges, one for children and one for adults. And what the kid pledges to do 4 or 5 things just to be safer around the pool and spa. And with the adult pledge, these are things that an adult should do when they're responsible for a child to keep them safer in and around the pool. So if you go to the website, if you haven't taken the pledge yet, go to the website, take the pledge, and help us reach that next milestone. We've got thousands of pledges have come in the last year, and we just want to keep that number growing, because the more people that take the pledge, the more aware they'll be of the different safety steps that you need to take, and the safer children will be in and around the pools. So you never know which of these safety steps is going to save a life until it actually does. So let's take the first step and let's learn more about staying safe around the pool. So our first safety step is learn to swim. You should always teach a child how to swim, how to breathe in the water, how to tread water, these basic safety skills, and it increases their chance of surviving. A child who doesn't know how to swim is 8 times as likely to drown than a child who can swim. So it's very important that you learn how to swim and that your children learn how to swim. The next safety step is to have multiple layers of protection in and around your pool and spa. First, you should have a fence. You need a 4-sided fence, and that fence should be at least 4 feet high. You also want to make sure there are no footholds or handholds that the child can use to climb. Also make sure that there are no objects near the fence that the child can climb onto and then get over the fence. If it's a link fence or has slats, make sure those openings are very, very small and are not big enough for a child's foot or hand to wedge inside and boost the child over the fence. You also need a gate on that fence. It needs to be a self-closing and a self-latching gate. You need to maintain this fence, make sure that it closes properly and that it latches easily. And make sure that that latch is out of the reach of the child. It should be on the inside of the fence, closest to the pool, and at least 3 inches below the top of the fence. That way the child can't reach over and unlatch the gate and let him or herself into the pool area. So that's very important. You also, another layer of protection that we highly recommend is to have covers for your pools and spas. Whenever the pool and spa is not in use, you should have the cover closed, and it should be lockable so the child can't crawl underneath and access the water. Now, it's important that the cover be able to endure 2 adults, the weight of 2 adults and a child. So if the child crawls onto the top of the cover, the adult can still rescue that child without endangering everyone involved in that rescue attempt. You also want the cover to be easy to remove, so in the rare instance that a child did get underneath, you can easily remove the cover and rescue the child without a problem. Now, there are several types of alarms. You have door alarms, pool alarms, gate alarms, and this is very important, especially when the 4th side of your fence is actually the house. Then it's imperative that you have a door alarm. Now, the alarm needs to have a unique sound so that you don't mistake it for the doorbell or the telephone or something else in your house. It should last for at least 30 seconds and be very loud, so no matter where you are within the house, you'll hear that sound and you'll know instantly that someone has gone out that back door towards the pool. The alarm should have a reset feature, an automatic reset feature, and there should be a way for the adult to turn off the alarm just temporarily, but make sure that switch is out of the reach of a child. There are also alarms that can go into that you put in the pool, so if something enters the water, the alarm goes off. So those are all very important types of alarms to consider. Now, another important step for pool safety is supervision. It is imperative that you always designate a water watcher, someone who is going to solely be responsible for watching those children, and they're not reading, they're not texting, they're not on the phone. Their sole job is to watch the children. Now, don't ever leave a child in or around the water unattended, not even for a second, not even just to run in and get a glass of water or to answer the phone. Don't ever leave them unattended. And this applies to any kind of body of water, whether it's a pool, a spa, a river, a lake, an ocean. Never leave them unattended. If you find the child's missing, first place you should look is the pool or spa. And as I said, designate a water watcher, and they should be focused solely on the children and nothing else, no distractions. And you can rotate being water watchers. You can rotate 15, 30 minutes, whatever you want, but make sure that you don't have 10 adults there with everyone thinking someone else is watching the children. Now, this Pool Safely campaign, a major part of our focus is safe drains and the VGB Act. As many of you know, Virginia Graham Baker was a 7-year-old girl, was a very good swimmer, and she got trapped in a spa drain, and but the suction held her so tightly, her mother could not pull her off that drain cover. It took 2 men to pull her off, and unfortunately she drowned from being trapped underwater like that. So in 2007, President Bush passed the Virginia Graham Baker Pool and Spa Safety Act, and that became law in 2008. Now, how many people on this call actually know what a safe drain looks like? Okay, about 73 people do not know what a safe drain cover looks like. So we're going to learn that today. The next slide shows you a safe drain cover and a non-safe drain cover. The one on the left, you can see it's a flat drain, and it has a lot of openings, so it's easy for something to get entangled in that drain cover. The one on the right is domed, and it has a mesh. So there's really no way for something to get tangled up in that drain and for the suction to hold the person down underwater. Now, it's mandatory that all public pools have the safe drain cover, the one on the right. All public pools and spas have to have a safe drain cover. Residential pools, we highly, highly, highly recommend you put in these VGB compliant drain covers. In some jurisdictions, it is mandatory, but on a federal level, it's recommended. They're not very expensive, and the company that maintains your pool can go underwater and replace the drain cover. They don't need to drain the pool, and it's worth every penny. Since this law was passed, not one child has drowned from drain entrapment in a public pool. So they work. Now you say, well, what can get stuck in that drain? What can get entrapped there? It could be a body part. A little girl's long hair could get caught up in the drain. Limbs, fingers, arms, hands, or jewelry, bathing suits, any kind of material like that can get caught in that unsafe drain cover. In the event that someone does get caught with that from the suction, the first thing you need to do is turn off the pump so that you cut that suction. And then don't just try and pull the person off straight. You want to lodge something between whatever the body part that's caught and the drain. Just lodge something there, and as soon as you break that seal from the suction, roll them off the drain cover and then pull them to safety. Make sure you have a portable phone nearby to call for help. And then you want to apply basic life-saving skills like, CPR, because those few extra minutes while you're waiting for the paramedics could make the difference between life and death. Which leads me to our next safety step, life-saving skills. Whether you're going to be at a pool or not, knowing CPR could save a life. There have been so many stories where someone nearby knew CPR, stepped in to help, and that made the difference while they waited for the paramedics. Had they not had those extra few minutes of assistance, the victim would not have survived. So everyone should know CPR. So here's a checklist you might want to take back home with you tonight. Does your pool have the appropriate equipment? Have you had the pool inspected on a regular basis? Make sure those drain covers are correct, that they're in good condition. Do you have life-saving equipment nearby? When you're at a pool, whether it's your own or a public pool, who's the water watcher? Don't rely on the lifeguards. While they're there to help and watch the pool, they're not babysitters. It's imperative that you still watch your own child, even if there are lifeguards on duty. And then learn these basic water safety skills. Learn how to swim. Make sure your kids know how to swim. Learn CPR. And, be able to assist in the event of an emergency. So to recap, these simple steps that could save a life is learn to swim and teach your kids to swim. Use multiple layers of protection like fences and covers and gates and alarms. The more layers of protection, the better. Always designate a water watcher. Ensure your drains are the proper type of drain covers and that they're in good condition. And then learn CPR and other types of life-saving skills. Now this summer was a very exciting summer for our campaign. One of the things we introduced was this new song. We collaborated with Lori Berkner, and she is a children's entertainer. And she wrote a song, Pool Safely, 4 Simple Steps. And I'd like to share that with you right now. Okay, hopefully you were all able to view that clearly. It's also available if you go to YouTube, to the Pool Safely page, you can see it there, or if you go to poolsafely.gov, you can download it from our homepage. So now another thing that we launched this summer was a new application for Adventures of Splish and Splash. Some of you may be familiar with the original Splish and Splash game, which is on our website. That's aimed for smaller children, maybe 3, 4, 5, 6-year-olds. This game is for 7 to 12-year-olds, and it has 20 stages. Each stage gets a little more challenging, and it's an interactive game where the child has to identify violations around the pool and identify what's not safe behavior. It's available to download from iTunes and from Google Play, free of charge, and also on our website, poolsafely.gov. So hopefully you'll check that out. I'd love to get your feedback of what you think of the game and the song. Now we have a boatload of resources for our partners, free of charge. We have videos, brochures, tip cards, a lot of material that our partners hand out at health fairs and conferences and different activities across the country year-round. We also have the pledge cards that a lot of our partners have gotten people to take the pledge right there on site, and then they send the little pledge cards back to me, and we add them to our running tally. And they've been amazing in bringing those pledges into us and helping to increase awareness of both the pledge campaign and the Pool Safely campaign. Now, here's a list of several different resources that you might want to access. As I mentioned earlier, you can take the pledge online at www.poolsafely.gov/pledge. Here's the URL if you want to listen to Lori Berkner's song again, or if you want to download it. You can go onto our website here to download the app for the Splish and Splash. We have, if you want to order printed materials, send us an email at poolsafely@cpsc.gov, and I can send you an order form. As I mentioned, there's no charge for the materials. I just need you to fill out the order form. We have a monthly newsletter, which is free if you want to sign up for that. You can follow us on Twitter, our Flickr page, and then if you have specific questions and want to contact me, you have my email address right there. And, again, I want to emphasize these multiple layers of protection because you never know which of these safety steps is going to save a life until it actually does. So I want to thank you so much for joining us and helping us to increase awareness about multiple layers of protection and Pool Safely. And I'd like to open the floor now if people have any questions.
Thank you so much, Ellyn. It's great to hear about the Pool Safely campaign and those 4 great steps. I do understand some folks in the audience are still hearing the video playing. If you would like to mute your computer speakers and call 7973. You should be able to hear the rest of the presentation without any interference. And our apologies for that. It depends on internet connections. So I'd like to invite you all to ask any questions that you may have for our presenters today for CPSC and Ellyn Pollack. You can ask those questions by typing into the Q&A box on the lower left-hand side of the screen and hitting the little bubble icon next to where you type in. So to get started, we do have a few questions that I'd like to start with. So, first is, can you talk a little bit more about the new Pool Safely app game and how kids can benefit from playing it?
Well, as I mentioned, the app there are 20 stages. So it starts out a little simpler with the first stage. The child identifies 3 violations on the picture. They have 60 seconds to identify the violations. When they pass that stage, they advance to stage 2. Each level gets a little bit harder. By stage 20, they have to find 10 violations within the 60 seconds. And it accumulates a running score for them. And if they do a stage and they want to try again to see if they can do it faster, it actually changes each time, so they're not getting the exact same picture, so that they actually are learning what to identify.
Great, thank you so much. And we do have a request for additional resources. So could you tell us where to find a link or a handout with the safe drain cover guidelines and who we should report to if we do see improper drains in a pool?
Well, if you see improper drains, you need to go to your local authorities. I would probably start with the health department, and if that's not the right department, they can send you to whoever enforces those regulations. And I'd have to send you that slide if they wanted to see about the drain covers. It's on our website. If they go to poolsafely.gov, there is information on the drain covers, or I can send it to someone directly.
Great, thank you so much. You talked a little bit about the types of fences and gates that are around, but what are the best types of fences and gates to install around a residential pool?
Well, I mean, I can't talk about specific brands, but as I said, you want the fence to be at least 4 feet high, and you want it to be on all 4 sides. Ideally, you don't want the house to be the 4th side of the fence, but I know that many times that is the case. If that's the case, you want that door alarm so that you know if a child slips out that back door, you know the second that door opens. You want to make sure you have a self-closing and self-latching gate, and that latch is far enough down, it's on the inside of the pool, on that side of the fence faces the pool, and it's low enough the child can't just reach over the fence and unlock it. You also want to make sure there's no way for this child to climb that fence. There's nowhere to lodge their feet and their hands to climb up over the fence, and that there's nothing nearby they can climb onto in order to get over the fence.
Great, thank you.
Some people would actually say 5 feet is better, but we say a minimum of 4 feet, and preferably 5.
Great, good to know. We have a couple questions from our audience members about the supervision around the pool and the water watchers. So what specific skills do water watchers need, and do you have any suggestions for how to make sure the water watchers follow their scheduled time without lapses in coverage like texting or reading? Well,
I mean, the water watcher is usually family and friends, figuring out their schedule. So it's up to them if, they want to say, well, every 30 minutes we'll change, every 15, but they should be sitting right at the edge of the pool without anything in their hands. They shouldn't have their phone. It's too easy to glance down for a second and deal with a text or to grab a phone call. That's a distraction. They shouldn't have a book. They should not have anything with them. They should be sitting at the edge of the pool watching the children. Now, what some people do to make sure it's clear who's the water watcher, we have those badges that say water watcher. It comes on a lanyard. So the person would put it on, sit at the edge of the pool, watch the kids. If they need to run in the house, another adult would come over, take the lanyard from them, and then take over the seat, put the lanyard on, and then the first adult can go into the house. Ideally, the person should know how to swim, but there are ways around it if they know how to rescue someone, like using a reaching pole or throwing, depending on the situation, if they're throwing a buoy that the kid can grab. But it would be ideal if the adult could get in, if the water is not overhead for the adult, or then they can get in the water and stand there and rescue the child. But it would be ideal if they knew how to swim themselves, but it's not essential, as long as there's someone around the pool who does know how to swim if you call for help.
Great, thank you very much. Now another one of the steps is being safe around the pool and having swimming lessons. So a couple of our audience members have remarked on that learning to swim programs are considered recreational, and wanting to come up with ideas for how we can change the narrative around swimming lessons being recreational versus a life-saving skill. We have another audience member who's adding on to that dialogue and saying, a lot of families with lower incomes can't afford swimming lessons. So how can we encourage swimming safety in these circumstances where people consider it to be recreational and may not have the finances to pay for swimming lessons?
Well, first of all, every June there is something called the World's Largest Swimming Lesson. And this is a free activity that people can sign up for around the world. Now, they're not going to learn to swim in just those 30 minutes, but it's the first step. But I would recommend calling your local Red Cross, the YMCA, and find out about, complimentary programs in the area to teach children to swim, because it's more than recreational. It's life-saving. And as I mentioned, a child who cannot swim is 8 times as likely to drown. So I would call those communities, call those organizations within your community and find out if there's some free lessons that they can offer for children. Many communities have low and no-cost lessons available. You just need to do a little bit of research in your local area.
Great, thank you so much. So we have a couple of folks who are commenting on open bodies of water and the role of life jackets, both at open bodies of water and at pools. Do you have any programs or know of any programs that offer life jackets beside pools or beside open bodies of water? Or would you recommend bringing a life jacket to a pool or open body of water?
Well, yeah, you would probably have to take your own life jacket if you're going to an open body of water. And if they don't know how to swim, it's imperative that you've got adults there who do know how to swim. That's really not our area of expertise. We focus on pools and spas. Most pools are probably not going to have life jackets there because those are usually associated with boating, but you could bring a life jacket with you, and those are much better to use than like those little wings, those inflatable wings. Inflatable wings and inner tubes give a false sense of security. If they pop or and deflate, that if the child doesn't know how to swim, they're much better with the life jacket than they are with those inflatable toys.
Thank you. And one of our audience members is wondering if there are resources available for Spanish speakers.
Yes, many of our pieces of much of our literature is available in Spanish. Almost everything we have available in Spanish. So it's on. If they ask for the order form, it's on there of what's available in Spanish.
Great, thank you very much. We have just a couple more questions in the queue, but if you do want to ask any questions, please feel free to type it into the Q&A box on the lower left-hand side of your screen, and we'll get to it. Another question that we had from an audience member was, how can a child or parent prevent dry drowning?
Well, there's really no such thing as dry drowning. It's still drowning. But if a child has what appears to be a near drowning, what we would call non-fatal, they still should take the child to the emergency room to have them checked over. If the child is, inhaled water and is choking, even if they seem to be okay, take them to the doctor and just let a medical professional check them over and make sure that they are okay. Sometimes it'll be, several hours later when they start having symptoms, so don't wait for those symptoms to appear. As soon as you've got them out of the water, take them to the doctor and make sure they're okay.
Great, thank you. The last two questions. So why did you create a kid's song, and how do you think that will help prevent child drowning?
Well, children they learn things they want something that's fun. And this is a catchy tune, and they learn the song, and without realizing it, they're actually learning proper behavior around a pool and spa, things that will keep them safe. So we thought it would be engaging and fun for the children, and that way they'll actually learn these simple steps just by learning the song and playing the song and watching the video.
Great, thank you. And you mentioned the Water Watcher lanyards a couple minutes ago. Could you tell us, is there any cost associated with those, and can we order them from the website?
Well, you would just place, I would send you an order form, but there's no cost involved. But yes, you can order them from me. Just
Great,
send an email,
excellent. And
send an email to poolsafely@cpsc.gov, and I'll send you an order form. You can fill out and send it back, and then I'll send you the lanyard.
great, thank you very much. And that email address is right there on the screen in front of you, poolsafely@cpsc.gov. And if you did also want to get in touch with Ellyn Pollack, her email contact is at the bottom of this page, epollack@cpsc.gov. And the last question that we have in our queue here is, can you tell us a little bit more about the Pool Safely Pledge program and how we can help?
Well, as I mentioned, we started the pledge program just over a year ago, and there's a pledge for children, a pledge for adults that identifies simple steps each person should take to keep children safer in and near the pools and spas. So we want as many people as possible to either go online and take the pledge, or if you're going to be at some kind of event, you have a conference, you're doing a presentation to children, you're going to have an exhibit at some type of community event, we can send you hard copy pledge cards, and we'd ask you to get people on site to take the pledge and then send them back so we can add them to our running tally. And the idea is to increase awareness of these simple steps. And the more people who take the pledge, the more people will learn these simple things they need to do to keep everyone safer in and near the water. Our goal right now is to reach 25,000 by Labor Day. So we're really close, and our partners have been instrumental in helping us reach this goal. And the pledge is something people should take every year just to remind themselves what they've committed to do. That remind themselves, I promise to do, so designate a water watcher, learn CPR, and you don't want to take it 1 year and 5 years later you forgot about it. So each year, renew your pledge, get other people to take the pledge, put it on your Facebook page, tweet it out, help spread the word and get everyone else to take the pledge as well. And hopefully it'll lead to, it'll avoid some drowning incidences.
Great, thank you very much, Ellyn. And I would like to say there's about 100 people on the webinar today, so if you haven't already taken that Pool Safely Pledge, the link is in the web links pod on the left-hand side of your screen. You just click on the Pool Safely Pledge, click Browse To, and it will take you straight to that pledge so that you can fill it out and fulfill your annual duty. We don't have any other questions in the queue right now, so I think we can wrap up today's webinar unless anyone enters any more questions. But we would like to thank you very much on behalf of the Children's Safety Network and Pool Safely for joining us. This webinar has been recorded and will be archived on our website, so you can refer back to that at any point. We'd also like to invite you to take a moment to complete our short evaluation by clicking on the link, the SurveyMonkey link on the screen in front of you, and letting us know what you thought about today's webinar. If you do have any additional questions or comments about the Pool Safely campaign, please feel free to reach out to Ellyn or myself, and we'd be happy to get your question to the correct person. With that, I'd like to wish you a great afternoon. Take care.
Thank you.